Imagine this: you wake up one morning, and for the first time, you feel the full weight of every invisible chain holding you back, not forged by others, but forged by the very lies you've told yourself. The ones so deeply embedded they've become your reality. The paradox? These lies promise safety, comfort, and belonging, yet they cage you in a life half-lived, shrinking your spirit, your dreams, your potential. How did you come to believe that settling for less is enough? That your voice is too small to matter? That ambition is arrogance, and vulnerability a weakness? What if everything you accepted as truth was actually a carefully constructed illusion designed to keep you confined, invisible, unthreatening? What would it mean to finally see those lies for what they are? To confront the discomfort that freedom demands? Could you bear the risk of stepping into your full power, knowing it might alienate, disrupt, and unmake the world you've known? Before you choose to look away, ask yourself, what if the cost of staying small is far greater than the fear of growing? If you're ready to shatter these illusions and claim the life that's waiting beyond them, subscribe now. Because the truth you need isn't popular, it's urgent. You see, the lies that keep you small are not random whispers but carefully sown seeds rooted in the darkest corners of human psychology and culture. Carl Jung called this the shadow, the parts of ourselves we refuse to acknowledge, banished into the unconscious. But what if your shadow isn't just darkness, but a prison built from collective fears, inherited narratives, and survival strategies disguised as truths? Friedrich Nietzsche warned that many live as sheep beneath the weight of herd mentality, too fearful to break from the comfort of conformity. The lie that you must shrink yourself to fit in is a symptom of this fear, an echo of societal commands to obey, to be reasonable, to not disrupt the fragile order. Arthur Schopenhauer described life as a battlefield of desires and suffering, where illusions soften the unbearable reality. But those illusions become shackles when you accept limitations imposed not by circumstance, but by self-deception. Jean-Paul Sartre reminded us that freedom is a burden. To be free is to be condemned to choose. The lies whisper that choice is dangerous, that your authentic desires are selfish or reckless. Viktor Frankl, who survived unimaginable horror, argued that meaning is found in suffering in choice. Yet society often convinces us to surrender that choice to fear, to doubt, to passivity. These lies burrow into your identity, whispering you are not enough, too broken, too ordinary, too flawed. They shape your self-image, your emotions, your decisions, molding a false self that obeys rules rather than challenges them. And all the while, you pay a price invisible to most, a life dimmed, a spirit stifled, a destiny deferred. The question is not just what keeps you small, but why you allowed these lies to root so deeply. And the answers lead to a truth far more unsettling. These lies you've carried quietly: I'm not enough, I don't deserve, it's safer to stay small, they do not simply vanish when ignored. Instead, they become the silent architects of your existence, shaping your thoughts, your choices, even the way your brain processes reality. Neuroscience reveals that the brain is a master of confirmation bias, a relentless filter that seeks evidence to prove what you already believe. If you've accepted the lie that your voice is insignificant, your mind will unconsciously amplify moments of dismissal and silence, while muting your successes. It's a cruel feedback loop where your own biology reinforces the cage you inhabit. On a deeper level, cognitive psychologist Daniel Kahneman showed us how heuristics and biases shortcut our decisions, often leading us to settle for the good enough instead of reaching for what's truly possible. When fear disguises itself as rational caution, it convinces you to ignore your own yearning for growth, convincing you that contentment lies in comfort zones, even if those zones feel suffocating. Culturally, these lies thrive because society rewards conformity and punishes disruption. The loud voices in history who broke free, think of Frida Kahlo, James Baldwin, or Rosa Parks, were branded too much, too dangerous, or unrealistic. This collective resistance instills a primal fear that survival depends on silence and compliance. You learn early, to shine is to stand out, and standing out means risk. Emotionally, the toll is heavier than you imagine. Psychologist Brené Brown describes how shame anchors us in invisibility. The lie that your vulnerabilities or weaknesses keeps you from authentic connection, isolating you behind masks. Over time, this alienation breeds anxiety, depression, and a creeping numbness that dulls even your wildest dreams. The consequences extend beyond the individual. When millions live small, society suffers a loss of innovation, empathy, and courage. The collective becomes a vast ocean of muted voices, each afraid to ripple the surface. This silence sustains systemic injustices, cultural stagnation, and a quiet desperation that hums beneath everyday life. Yet, the most harrowing truth is this. The greatest prison is not the one built by external forces, but the one constructed by internalized lies. These illusions rob you of time, the fleeting, precious hours that could have been spent building, loving, and expanding. They steal your energy, channeling it into self-doubt and procrastination instead of creation and boldness. You may have noticed it, the lingering question that haunts your quiet moments: what if I'm meant for more? But the lie answers before you can speak: no. You must remain safe. You must stay small. This silent war rages within you, fought on a battlefield of neural pathways and societal expectations, shadowed by the haunting echo of all the what-ifs you never dared explore. Still, beneath the crushing weight of these consequences, a spark flickers. It is the stubborn, painful urge to break free. To refuse the lie, even if just for a moment. To glimpse a life where your worth is not measured by conformity but by the fearless expression of your true self. You stand at a crossroads. One path continues in the dim comfort of the familiar lie, the other leads to uncertainty, risk, and the possibility of profound freedom. The question is, will you take the first step? What if the first step toward freedom is not a leap of faith or a sudden transformation, but a quiet, defiant refusal? The refusal to believe the lies anymore. To recognize them as exactly what they are, stories told to contain you, not truths meant to guide you. Breaking free starts with rebellion, a rebellion against the inner voice that whispers, stay small, don't risk, you're too flawed. It means reclaiming your right to be loud, to be vulnerable, to be wildly, unapologetically human. History remembers those who dared to disobey these internal tyrants. Rosa Parks, in that simple, radical act of sitting, challenged the lie that she must be invisible. Frida Kahlo painted her pain and identity boldly, shattering silence with every stroke. James Baldwin's words carved open the lie of social acceptance, demanding a world where truth reigns over comfort. But rebellion isn't always loud or public. Sometimes, it begins in the quiet moments. Choosing honesty over pretense, embracing your shadows instead of fleeing them. Carl Jung believed that integrating your shadow, the hidden, denied parts of yourself, is the key to wholeness and power. It is in that dark soil that real growth takes root. To break free, you must become the witness of your own mind. When the lie surfaces, you're not enough, observe it without judgment. Name it. Separate it from your core self. Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. That space is your battlefield, your sanctuary. Counterintuitive as it seems, surrender can be part of the rebellion. Not surrender to lies, but surrender to uncertainty, discomfort, and the uncharted terrain of your true self. Accept that growth is messy, that failure is a teacher, and that pain is often the price of freedom. Mindset shifts like these have transformed countless lives. Consider Nelson Mandela, who in prison chose forgiveness over bitterness, breaking free from the mental prisons of hatred. Or Malala Yousafzai, who defied violence with unwavering conviction, refusing to let fear shrink her voice. Reclaiming control also means rewriting your story. This involves rejecting the narratives you inherited that no longer serve you, whether from family, culture, or your own mind, and authoring a new truth that affirms your worth and possibility. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre taught that existence precedes essence. You are not defined by the past but by your choices today. Practically, this rebellion can take many forms: setting boundaries that protect your energy, seeking spaces that nurture your growth, surrounding yourself with those who celebrate your truth. It means practicing courage daily, speaking your truth even when your voice shakes, stepping into the light even if shadows linger. And as you do, something remarkable happens: the lie loses its power. The chains forged by fear and self-doubt begin to rust and fall away. The world that once seemed so vast and threatening suddenly feels like a canvas waiting for your brush. You are no longer a passive passenger but the author of your destiny. The life you imagined, bold, free, whole, is not just possible, it is waiting for you to claim it. The deepest truth is this: the lies that kept you small were never about your limitations, they were about fear disguised as protection. Your true self is not something to be hidden or contained, it is a force of nature, waiting to break through every wall built to confine it. You are not a victim of your past, nor a prisoner of the stories you inherited. You are the creator of your present and future. In choosing to stand fully in your power, flaws, fears, and all, you dissolve the illusions that have shadowed your soul. This is not just liberation. It is a radical rebirth. The moment you stop shrinking, the world shifts. You become an undeniable presence, a living testament to the courage it takes to be unapologetically yourself. So ask yourself, will you keep believing the lies, or will you rise, vast and unbound, into the life only you can live?